Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Brian and I love tech. All kinds of tech, gaming, computers, gadgets, cameras, audio, you name it. And today I would like to talk about this, the Genki Audio from Human Things. I bought this years ago through their Kickstarter, but it can be yours for the low price of $4. It was designed and marketed as an accessory for the Nintendo Switch, but I would argue it is so much more than that, and I recommend it for everyone. Even if you don't own a Switch, never owned a Switch, and never plan to own a Switch. I love this little guy, and I think you would too. Let me tell you why in the first episode of a new series I like to call, Is It Any Good? If you've never heard of Human Things or Genki, they are a small tech startup specializing in gaming gear, primarily for the Switch, but also other handhelds and gaming in general. They first entered the scene back in 2018 with a Kickstarter for their first product, which was, you guessed it, the Genki Audio. The Kickstarter describes it as Genki Bluetooth audio for the Nintendo Switch. Connect your favorite headphones to the Switch with a premium USB Type-C Bluetooth 5 aptX low latency multi-pairing audio adapter with pass-through charging. But what does any of that mean? Well, let's start with the primary function as advertised, connecting headphones to the Switch. You may be wondering, why would you need this? Just connect the headphones right to the Switch. You would think it would be that simple, but when the Nintendo Switch was launched all the way back in the before times of 2017, this little handheld had Bluetooth capability built into it, and yet, despite Bluetooth being an integral part of the Switch design, it lacked the ability to connect to headphones wirelessly. It just didn't have the option. No wireless pairing at all, just the built-in 3.5mm jack. That is what you get, a classic audio jack and nothing else. Now, is this the end of the world? No, but come on, it was kind of preposterous. And you know who agreed with me? The fine fellows of Human Things. They saw a blatant design flaw in one of the most popular gaming systems of all time, and they offered a solution. A simple plug-and-play adapter that offers instant wireless audio for the Switch. They even made it look like a little Switch. It's got the black with the blue and the red, like the little Joy-Cons. It's very cute. It is very cute, it is well built, it feels sturdy, and it looks like it belongs with the Switch. So it comes in this little box, nifty little Switch case. And then inside, we've got the Genki Audio itself, USB-C to A adapter in case you want to plug it into something other than the Switch. We'll get into that more later, spoilers, and a headphone jack microphone. You also get a manual, and you get 2 stickers. So on the box, it describes, just like on the Kickstarter, USB-C, which is obviously part of the Switch, but also everything else these days, so that's good. It's got Bluetooth 5, which it claims is compatible with everything, with powerful range. I know it was Bluetooth 5.0 at launch, and I read somewhere that they upgraded to 5.2 at some point. But on this box that I just had delivered, it says 5.0. So do with that information as you will, but it's got 5.0 per the box. It also has aptX low latency audio, which if you are not an audiophile or hardcore gamer, that may sound like techno nonsense to you, but it's not as complicated as it sounds, and I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible because I do think that this is a standout feature. I mean, it's one of only 5 features they list, so 1 in 5 is going to be pretty important. All you really need to know is that when something talks about low latency, whether it's low latency audio, low latency mouse, low latency controller. When you have something that produces a signal that needs to be received by something else, there's going to be a delay. If you are watching video and listening to it at the same time, you need what you are seeing and what you are hearing to line up, to be in sync. If the delay is more than 30, 40 milliseconds, you can potentially start to notice it. And if it's really bad, it can render it completely unwatchable. What you are seeing right now is a delay of 300 milliseconds, not even half a second off. But you can probably see the delay, especially when I clap my hands. And this happens all the time. There's all kinds of poorly optimized wireless connections. At some point, you've probably experienced this firsthand and thought something wasn't working right, even though it was working exactly how it was designed. They just didn't invest in a faster, low latency way of moving that digital signal, or maybe the device is prioritizing some other data over the audio. What they did with this was they gave it the ability to pack up the audio signal very quickly and efficiently so that the delay is so small it is imperceptible, which is particularly necessary when playing video games because there's so much fast action. If there's even the slightest delay, you can really, really feel it. A much simpler and straightforward feature of the Genki Audio is pass-through charging, which, as the name implies, means charging can pass straight through it. The Genki itself doesn't need charging. It has no batteries. It pulls power straight from the device, and in case you are worried that it will drain your battery, they say it actually uses less power than the built-in speakers, which I can believe since I never noticed any hit to the battery when using it. But the switch itself needs power, and like so many devices, it only has the one USB-C port. So if this didn't have the ability to pass through charging from one end through the other into the switch, it would mean you'd have to choose between wireless audio and keeping the thing charged. So a very smart and very handy feature. The fact that the Switch 2 is going to have two USB-C ports, one on the top and one on the bottom, is such a relief. And this actually leads me to the elephant in the room. Why on earth would I be recommending that you buy an accessory for the Nintendo Switch when they just announced the Switch 2? It's actually worse than that. The problem with the Switch that they built this to solve isn't even a problem anymore. Back at the end of 2021, Nintendo sent out a big old software update for the Switch, and in that update, they turned on Bluetooth audio. You could suddenly connect your wireless headphones directly to your Switch. No need for a dongle, no need for anything. It just paired right to the Switch. Literally right now, I can connect my headphones, any headphones, right to the Switch. No Genki audio needed. So why would I be talking about this thing if it is useless? Because it isn't useless, and I'll tell you why. Multi-device pairing. You can connect two headphones to one device. If you can believe it, sharing audio between two headphones is not something always readily available on your devices. You can connect 100 pairs of headphones to a device, but it will only play to one at a time. When my wife and I got married, we had our honeymoon out in the UK. It was a dream trip for both of us. It was wonderful, a perfect honeymoon. But we had a 10-plus hour flight, plus all the time at the airports, plus an additional hour before we even took off because we had to wait for 3 engineers to come aboard to fix some first-class passengers' entertainment system because God forbid they have to use their own devices or, sleep in their luxury recliner during this overnight flight. Anyway, since we were going to have all that time on our flight, I filled my iPad full of movies and TV shows to watch with my bride, only to find that there was no easy way for us to share audio. Apple has built-in shared audio, but it only works if you're both using Apple headphones. We have AirPods, but if you think we're going to sit through a 10-hour flight without noise-canceling headphones, you're nuts. Could I have wired us in? Sure. I would have needed a USB-C to 3.5 millimeter jack, a headphone splitter, a 3.5 millimeter to 3.5 millimeter headphone cable to the Sonys, and a 2.5 millimeter to 3.5 millimeter to the Bose, since they are old and insane. Or instead of being buried in cables like I'm some old-timey switchboard operator, I plug this little guy into the iPad, pair the two headphones, and we're good to go. Which is exactly what I did. And it worked flawlessly. And what was that? Did the flight attendant just come by and say, please stow away large devices? No problem. Pop it out of the iPad, plug it into my phone, and guess what? Instant shared audio. No messing with Bluetooth pairing, no nothing. Just swap the dongle over and you are cooking. Parents, do your kids share a Switch? Do they share an iPad? Do you want them to watch something together in the back seat without you having to listen to it? This solves that. And it's not just the paired audio that makes this an essential for you and your family. What if you don't use wireless headphones, or you prefer your kids don't use headphones at all? That's fine, because this can also be paired to Bluetooth speakers. One speaker, two speakers, it doesn't matter. And the best part is it has that same hot swapping I did with the iPad to iPhone. It can be done instantly to share streaming to your speaker. Let's say you're hanging out by the pool listening to Chumbawamba on your Bluetooth speaker, and your cousin comes up and says, hey, I've got a new Summer Jams playlist. Let me connect to the speaker. You don't have to go through all the trouble of turning off Bluetooth on your phone, holding the Bluetooth pairing button on the speaker, connecting on his Bluetooth settings. None of that. Just take this out of your phone, plug it into theirs. You're done. Millennials will remember passing around the auxiliary cable in their cars. This is like the wireless auxiliary cable of the modern age. And you could even have two Bluetooth speakers attached, one by the pool and one by the snacks. This thing is so simple to use and yet so versatile. It solves problems you didn't even know you had. And though this thing may sound complicated, using it couldn't be simpler. You plug it in, hold down one of the two bumpers, hold the pairing button on your headphones or speaker, and it pairs. Next time you plug it in, it will automatically connect. Connecting the second set of headphones, just do the same thing with the other bumper. And if it ever disconnects, you just tap the bumper once and it pairs right back up. Everyone should have one of these. Every parent, every couple, every gamer, just everyone. And it's only $4. Okay, it's $4.50. But still. And that's down from $35. It's a steal. They're practically giving these away. And for only $3.50 more, you could throw in a Genki Audio Lite, just like I did. It's the watered down version of the Genki Audio, just like the Switch Lite is the watered down version of the Switch. This little guy. Whoop. Focus, focus, focus. And while the Genki Audio Lite has some of the same features as its bigger brother, the same low latency audio, it can connect to any Bluetooth headset or speaker and plugs in via USB-C, it is missing out on some key features. Most notably, it can only connect to one set of headphones or speaker, so no sharing audio. Also, it doesn't feature pass-through charging, which makes it less useful for the Switch or an iPhone, Android device, or iPad, unless you're using a dock that can also charge it. I would say that the Audio Lite is a great solution for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, or if you wanted to pair it to a single speaker and use it like a designated wireless aux cable for that speaker, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pair it to a speaker and it will forever be tethered to it. For $3.50, you can't go wrong. Now, as great as these prices are, they do concern me. I would assume if they are selling them at 90% off, that means they are most likely done making them and are probably just selling off the last of their stock, which is a shame. And I think it's more of a marketing issue than it is a technology issue. I rarely use this on my Switch, but that is still what they are branding it for. Just look at the box. Look at the box. It is literally a box for a Switch game. Human things. Please, listen to me. You built your company off of this product. You know how good it is. Don't stop making it. Please. Please. I think just a slight rebrand of it, the Genki Universal Audio Adapter or whatever, and I think it'll sell like crazy. Lose the Switch coloring, scale the whole size down to be more like the Switch Lite, I think. Something halfway between with the features of the big and the form factor of the small would be really nice. Because I worry about this snapping off. Maybe a Pro version could pair beyond 2 headsets for like a backyard projector movie night situation where everyone has their own headphones, or as a hub for multiple speakers, like for maybe a restaurant or a backyard party, something like that. And for you, the viewer, I've got a link down below in the description. It's not an affiliate link or anything. They aren't sponsoring this video. They don't know who I am. I'm just a fan of their products, and I truly cannot recommend this one highly enough. If you have any questions about it, maybe stuff that you're not seeing on the website, let me know in the comments and I'll try to answer it if I can. If you like this review and want to see more, let me know that too. I've got a few other products from Human Things I plan on reviewing, plus some other fun gear that I think deserve a deep dive. So keep an eye out for those videos. That's it for this one. Until next time, peace.